Before you put your resume together, one of the first things you're going to have to do is develop your job leads. That is, where it is you're going to apply for work. First thing to do there is to make a list of all the places that you think may be hiring, either now or in the near future. Sources for these leads include classified ads, the internet, and company contacts. You have to develop your own leads. Don't rely on other people. Nobody is going to come and hand you job leads on a silver platter. You're going to have to get out and work at it. Network with your friends and relatives. Let them know that you're looking for work. Ask them if they know any place that's hiring, either now or in the near future, and ask them if they know anyone else who might know of any place that's hiring now or in the near future. Follow-up can make all the difference. Following up on a lead right away is important. Remember, any delay just gives somebody else some time to snag that job that you're looking for. Resume preparation, the heading. The heading is the most important part of your resume, and it should be slightly separated and at the top of the body of your resume. It should include your full name. Don't use any nicknames. Your contact or mailing address, your telephone number, and your email address. And about your email address, make sure the one you have is appropriate and professional. If you're using an email address, which is something like sexhound@hotmail.com, you should probably get a new one to use for your job search. Logos are not appropriate in most cases. However, if you have a certification from a large company, something like Microsoft Certified Systems Engineer, then those logos are appropriate and they should be placed in the top left corner of your resume. Other than that, don't use any logos or graphics on your resume. The next section below the heading is the objective. This should be short and to the point. 1 or 2 sentences should be enough. Make it broad enough to apply to all the jobs you may be seeking, not one specific job. You can use something like, seeking a position with a large company which will allow me to advance through accomplishment and the use of my skills. Resume preparation, qualifications. You should include everything you've learned while attending any training. This is not the education section, so don't include your college or high school education, but any other training that you may have had. Don't leave anything out. You should also list any applicable skills you may have acquired. These include skills like how to operate a computer, specific computer program skills like Microsoft Office or database forms administration. You should also include management skills, customer service skills, and any other skills that you may have acquired that can be applied to any of the jobs that you're applying for. Resume preparation, education. The next section is the education section, and this is where you're going to list all of your training, especially the high schools and colleges. Start with your most recent school or college. The dates attended are not particularly important, except that the employer is going to want to know when you completed the training, so be sure to put an end date or date you graduated. After you list all your formal education, that is your high school and colleges, list all of the other training you may have had. This is a good place to list your certification training schools and programs like mechanics training, truck driving school, medical assistance programs, and any business seminars you may have attended. Whatever you may have had is important to list. Also, here's an important tip. Spell out any training that you may have had so the interviewer will know exactly what the training is. Don't assume that the interviewer is going to understand acronyms. For example, the acronym MCSE stands for Microsoft Certified Engineer. And in the programming and computer field, it's generally recognized and almost everybody understands what that acronym is. but in almost all of the fields, they do not understand. Don't assume the interviewer will know. Spell it out. Resume preparation, work experience. This section of your resume is where you list your current and former jobs. Again, start with the most recent and work backwards, and include the company's name, the dates you worked there, that is, the date you were hired and the date you left. If you're still working there, just put the word present in for the date that you left. You should include a very brief summary of your duties while working there. Try to keep this to 1 or 2 sentences if possible. If you have any outstanding accomplishments at some former employer, and you want to call attention to them, consider putting them into a separate section entitled Accomplishments. And remember, in this section, keep your explanations brief. You can go into detail when you get a personal interview. Resume preparation. References. Most employers will ask you for references before hiring you. You should have a list that includes the names and contact information for at least 3 references, and you should take this list with you to any interviews. But it is not a good idea to include this list on your resume itself. The best way to handle this is to simply put available upon request in the reference section of your resume. Then you should wait until the prospective employer asks you for this list before you provide it. Here are a few general tips you can use when putting together your resume. 1. Use plain white or linen paper. Do not use colored paper because many companies scan your resumes into their computer systems, and colored paper may be hard to scan and could cause your resume to be rejected. 2. Consider writing more than one version of your resume. On different versions of your resume, you can emphasize different areas of your experience or expertise or skills. That would help you get specific jobs that you may be applying to. 3. Do not use any decorations like fancy borders or pictures. Fancy borders and pictures, again, do not scan into computers very well, and they detract and distract from the content of your resume. 4. Do not include anything pertaining to race, age, marital status, sex, or religion. These are things that have nothing to do with your qualifications for a specific job, and you do not need to present them to a prospective employer for consideration. The last step in preparing your resume is to finalize it. You do this by putting it down and leaving it for several hours. Then you come back when you're fresh and read it over from the beginning. Check it for grammar and punctuation errors. Make sure that you've included all of your accomplishments and your training. Check the dates to be sure they are correct. Sometimes have a tendency to put in today's date when you're putting dates in for your education. The single biggest error on a resume is spelling. Recheck your resume carefully for spelling errors. These can distract an employer from what they are reading in your resume and can cause them to decide not to consider you for the job. The best thing to do is to have someone else proofread the resume for you. This will often catch mistakes that we miss when we're doing our own work. Cover letters. You should use a cover letter when you send out your resume. When writing your cover letter, try to keep it brief and simple. Don't include information that could be used to discriminate against you, like race, religion, age, or sex. The things you should include are things like your business characteristics, things like your dedication, your enthusiasm, your eagerness, your high work ethic. This is a place where you can tell a little about who you are. You know, characteristics that the body of your resume may not reveal. Cover letters are especially important when you move or are changing careers because it gives you an opportunity to briefly explain why it is you're wanting to make that particular change. Thank you letters. The last really important tip we're going to give you is to always send a thank you letter. A thank you letter can be an important factor in getting a job offer. It sets you apart from the other applicants and automatically puts your resume in front of the person doing the hiring one more time. So, send a thank you letter, make it addressed to the person doing the hiring or to the interviewer, and send it right away. Don't wait a day or two. Remember, any delay will give them an opportunity to decide to hire someone else. Congratulations! You have just completed TRACOM's Resume Preparation Workshop. We hope you enjoyed the workshop and found it useful. Thank you for choosing TRACOM, and good luck.